I had lost 5% of my ejection fraction in those couple of months. And that's when they
So how
called
long were you in the hospital?
for a week at a time, both times.
All right, did you call probation and you'll take a seat here? Right here. You're welcome. Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right. Just have a seat. Make sure you keep your voice up so everyone can hear.
No problem.
If you'll state your name for the record.
Miguel Zerino,
All right, and could you spell your last name?
Zermeno.
All right, state.
Sorry.
Oh, it's for the state to start asking you questions.
Sir, how are you currently employed?
I'm a paramedic with Acadian Ambulance.
Okay. And as a paramedic, or how long have you been with Acadian?
I started in September of 2020.
Okay. And what is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree in biomedical science with a minor in Spanish. I also certified in ACLS and PALS, and I currently hold a state license for licensed paramedic.
And as a paramedic, what are your duties with Acadian?
Treatment and care of patient transports and so on.
Okay. And back on March 16th of 2023, were you employed with Acadian at that time?
Yes, I was an EMT at that time.
What does EMT stand for?
Emergency medical technician.
And what's the
Lower level.
difference? Okay. What can you explain what's the difference to the jury?
So it's an entry level from, you start out in EMS, which is emergency medical services. As an EMT, it's mostly just basic life support. And then you can have an advanced into, I believe they call it advanced EMT. It used to be called EMTI, which is intermediate. And then the third level would be a paramedic. And that's what the ones that usually have to deal with more drug administrations like fentanyl, ketamine, higher morphine, other kind of drugs like that.
Okay. And so on March 16th, 2023, when you were paramedic, were you on duty that day?
Yes,
Okay. And were you working alone or with a partner?
with my partner.
And who was your partner?
My partner was at the time she was Brandy Edmonds. She was a paramedic, and I was her EMT basic partner.
Okay. And were you dispatched to the location of the 1000 block of Northwest Loop 410 eastbound in Castle Hills, Texas, 78213?
Yes.
Okay.
Have it for sure.
Now I'm going to show you what's been entered into evidence as states exhibit number 27. Can you identify that person right there?
That's me.
Okay. And is this the patient that was treated on that day?
Yes, that was the patient.
Okay. And the female that's in the picture, who is that?
That is Brandy Edmonds, my paramedic partner at the time.
Okay. And so when you made the location, what were you dispatched to that location for?
I believe it came out as a taser deployment in our CAD notes. I don't have those CAD notes with me, but from what I understood, it was a CAD notes on the side of the road after driving into it.
Okay, so the CAD notes, is that something that's like a report that's memorialized at the time of
Yes. So dispatch sends gets a call from whichever agency sends it out, and then it gets sent to our computer on board our ambulances, and they'll tell us notes of what's going on in real time or whatever gets updated, and then we could dispatch to what it says. Like I think whatever it is, a taser deployment.
Okay, would it help you if you had a copy of that report to refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so if we look at page 1 of that, can you tell me who the patient was that you made contact with on March 16th of 2023?
Edgar Aguilar Hernandez.
Okay, and if we go to the notes section, can you tell me the reason that you were dispatched to the location?
We were Unit 762 was dispatched lighting sirens for the taser deployment. Yeah. Our unit number was Unit 762. We were dispatched to a taser deployment.
Okay, and upon arrival at scene, did you make contact with the person that was identified in the picture?
Yes.
Okay, and when you make contact with a patient, what is your normal process of treating them?
We're getting a baseline and see how they're reacting. So are they alert to themselves, verbal, painful, or unresponsive? So he was also obvious. He was alert to us. Obviously, he was able to look at us, track us, talk to us, and then we kind of go from there. So make sure he's airways intact, or ABCs. So there's a whole like standardized process for national registry that we do that we kind of just do all at once.
Okay, and as part of that, do you take a history from the patient? Okay,
We try to get a basic history, like get a sample history, which is signs, symptoms, allergies, methods, medications that they're on, last oral intakes, and events leading up to whatever we're calling for.
okay, and is the purpose of that for medical treatment?
Yes.
Okay, because what could happen if you didn't take an accurate history of a patient?
So the problem would be is if you give somebody a medication that can cause more harm, especially if they're allergic to it, they can cause anaphylaxis, they can cause other issues, overdoses on other medications if you're already taking a certain medication or on any other kind of substances that are also similar to those medications.
Okay, so on the date that you were dispatched, does your partner Brandy Emmons or her at the time, did she speak Spanish?
No.
Okay, and so did you speak with the defendant?
Yes.
Okay, and in what language did you speak with him?
I spoke with him in Spanish.
Okay, and when you were speaking with him, did he make any admissions to you regarding ingesting any substances?
Yes.
Okay, what substances were those?
Alcohol and ice.
Okay. And then in your treatment of him, I guess, did you observe any injuries on him?
Yes, he had the taser deployed to the chest and the obvious head laceration, and we bandaged that up.
Okay, and is that consistent with what's contained in State's Exhibit number 27?
Sure. Yes.
The bandage on the head and,
Yep. Bandage on the head. Yep.
okay. Okay, and then do you recall where the patient was transported on that day?
University Hospital.
And there's a portion on here that it says about mental status. Was any analysis conducted regarding that on the day when you made contact with him?
Yeah, we gotta see how they react, how they answer questions, if there's any inconsistencies, or how they just respond. I believe you get GCS 14, which is one less than a normal speaking person, which either can just signify confusion. Let me see what she.
Sorry, Judge, can I ask the witness to either speak a little slower or speak into the microphone? I'm having trouble understanding what you're saying.
Yeah. So it looks like she indicated a GCS of 14, which is one less than normal baseline of a normal average person that can talk to. So I believe it was for just some confusion, or let me double check. I did not write this report, so yeah, it looks like he lost 1 point in verbal, which would be most likely the confusion there. But other than that, he was able to answer, I think, other questions normally for me.
Okay, so you're saying he lost 1 point because he was exhibiting signs of confusion.
Mhm.
Okay, and could that be consistent with ingestion of alcohol and?
Yes.
Okay. We pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, defense.
Good afternoon, Mr. Simino. I just have a few questions for you. Are you familiar? Well, let me start with, do you recall or did you make a notation of Edgar telling you how much alcohol he'd had or how much, and you referred to ice, that's methamphetamine, right?
Yes.
In common street parlance, it's ice's methamphetamines, right? Did he discuss with you how much he consumed of either of those?
I don't remember exactly how much he said, but I did note there was a scent of alcohol for sure. And I did ask him, he was like, "What did you take anything?" It's all in Spanish, obviously. Like, did
Did he take anything
did you
what?
take anything? Like, did you consume anything?
Okay,
He said ice and alcohol.
did he mention any reason as to why he was taking that early in the morning?
Yeah, I didn't ask, but that's not really relevant to what we do. We're just like, hey, what did you take? I need to know how I'm gonna treat you.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to slow down
Okay.
so that the court reporter can pick up everything and so that everyone can hear you.
Sure.
You mentioned the confusion that might be alcohol or methamphetamine or a combination of those were causing him to be a little confused. Was he saying anything that was concerning to you? Did he mention suicide?
Not that I recall.
So you've got a pretty interesting background to have your job, right? You have a Bachelor of Science in what was it?
Biomedical science.
Biomedical science.
Mhm.
Any of the training you've had, whether it was in college or being an EMT or now a paramedic, with regard to any sort of synergistic effect between alcohol and methamphetamines? Do you have any training about that or knowledge of that?
Yes, they can cause more issues, especially if you give pain medication on top of that. It can cause even more confusion lead on to like overdosing. Alcohol is also considered one of a blood thinner as well. It can be seen as a blood thinner. So we need to know what kind of effects other medications and drugs do to the body.
And are you familiar with any sort of psychosis related to methamphetamines?
Yeah, there's a common term, excited delirium, with other medications and drugs and such.
You and I might know what it is, but I need you to explain to them what that is.
So excited delirium, it's like usually when people either take something too much or they have some kind of substance abuse problem, where other means of controlling a person is harder to do. More so like they're irrationally, they can take more. I don't know how to describe it. Like changes won't do anything to them. They can run through stuff. They can see people that are what a normal person wouldn't be able to do. Usually has a high heart rate. It's like they have that's considered a life-threatening condition at the time. But,
In essence, they can hallucinate, right?
yes, yeah.
And in simple terms, methamphetamines brings most people up, right?
It's a stimulant. Yeah.
And so sometimes if you take methamphetamine, or if a person takes methamphetamine, they might not sleep for several days, right?
Yes.
And our brains aren't designed not to sleep for days on end, right?
Mhm.
And that's kind of what triggers the brain to sort of have these delusions, hallucinations sometimes, these fixations, things like that. Would you agree with me?
They can have those effects, yes.
Right, right. And maybe not on everyone, but on some people it certainly can, right?
Yeah, sure.
And there's a phrase called a methamphetamine-induced psychosis,
Mhm.
right? Is that a yes?
Yes.
I have nothing further. Thank you very much.
Any further questions?
Not from the state judge.
All right, is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Thank
All right, state, call your next witness.
The state calls investigator Martinez.
Sure can. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, have a seat, and if you'll state your name for the record, please.
Richard Martinez.
All right, state.
Investigator Martinez, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed by the Bear County Sheriff's Office as a homicide investigator.
Okay. And how long have you been with the Bear County Sheriff's Office?
This year will be 13 years.
Have you had any previous assignments before you were assigned to homicide?
Yes, I was assigned to violent crime.
Okay. And before that, were you a patrol officer?
And before violent crimes, I was
Okay. And what kind of training did you undergo to become a deputy with the Bear County Sheriff's Office?
we had to have our basic peace officer license. We have to attend the school hundreds, about 600 plus hours, maybe 700 close, just for a basic peace officer.
Okay. And were you employed as an investigator with the Bear County Sheriff's Office on March 16th of 2023?
I was
And what was your title and assignment on that day?
just violent crimes investigator on that day.
Okay, and so violent crimes, is that a different unit than homicide?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And what duties did you have as an investigator with violent crimes?
Dealt with shootings, stabbings, and felonious assaults.
Okay. And were you doing follow-up investigation on an incident that occurred under BCS 2300674339?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain to the jury how you ended up with that case?
I got notified by my supervisor, Sergeant Mahon, that there is some kind of incident that occurred at a QT and that other BCSO investigators were on scene and that they would provide me the details once I arrived.
Okay. And were you working alone or did you have a partner?
Just me.
Okay. And after you were assigned to the case, did you make the scene of the Quick Trip located at 4710 Fredericksburg Road, San Antonio, Texas, 78229?
Yes.
Okay, and is that located in Bear County, Texas?
Yes.
Okay. And can you describe the scene that you encountered once you got there?
There were several vehicles there. The vehicle that was brought to my attention by Investigator Torres, who's my contact there. The vehicle was a black SUV parked at a gas pump. I don't recall the number. And he's the one who briefed me on the situation as to why the offense that happened would fall under a category of violent crimes.
Okay. And did you identify any witnesses on scene that needed to be interviewed?
Yes, once the Investigator Torres pointed them out to me, then yes.
Okay, and how many were there?
There were three.
Do you recall their names?
I would have to refer my report.
Okay, go ahead.
Raquel, Ortega, Fatima Camacho, and Brittany Camacho.
Okay, and did you make contact with them there on scene?
Very briefly, but yes.
Can you describe their demeanor, please?
They appear to be shaken up as if they've gone through something either horribly traumatic.
Okay. And where did you conduct your interview with them?
The actual interview, it took place downtown at 207 North Comau, the main CID headquarters.
Okay, so when you make contact with them there at the QC, did you transport them to headquarters or did they drive on their own? How did they get there?
Since there were complaints, they drove themselves. The other members of the family were there at 2 meals. And I don't recall which vehicle they took to go downtown, but we both agreed to meet downtown so I can get their statements.
All right, and do you recall which victims that you interviewed?
Yes, I interviewed the two children of Raquel.
And I guess throughout your investigation, did you obtain any suspect information or suspect vehicle information through your investigation?
Well, when I spoke with them, yes, I did. They gave me a description of the vehicle and they gave me a description of the suspect and where they recognize the suspect from.
Okay, do you recall the vehicle description that was given to you?
I believe it was given to me as a Dodge Chan pickup.
Okay. And I guess when you made the scene, did you collect the evidence or did you have somebody assigned to the call to do that?
There was already a crime scene unit deputy already assigned. When I was being briefed by Investigator Torres, he already directed a crime scene unit deputy, forgot his name. But he did take photographs of the damaged vehicle. I personally observed some damage on the vehicle as well.
Okay. So I'm gonna approach you and show you a photograph. So I'm gonna show you what's been entered into evidence as State's Exhibit number 12. Can you tell me what is depicted in this image?
It looks to be a blood droplets on the driver's side door.
Okay, and so there's been some mention in the trial. So the CSI that made the scene, he testified that he swabbed that blood. But I guess, would it be under your duties or his duties to submit it to the Bexar County Crime Lab?
It would be my duties.
Okay, and was that done in this case?
I did submit the DNA swab conducted by the deputy, yes.
Okay, was there an additional step that may have been needed to determine who the blood belonged to?
What I could have done is obtain a buccal swab from the suspect.
Okay, was that done in this case?
No, it was not.
Okay, and why is that?
Later on in the investigation, my complainants already identified the suspect and I submitted the DNA swabs basically under the hope that maybe my suspect would be in the coded system.
Okay, but he wasn't, right?
But he was not.
Okay, and your interaction with the victims, did you see any like visible physical injuries on them?
No bruises, no lacerations, nothing that I can decide.
Okay, and so you had no reason to believe that that blood belonged to them, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so I know as part of your investigation, you reviewed some photos of the defendant, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and I'm gonna show you another photo that entered into evidence. That's State Exhibit number 27. And so I guess who is that?
That is there's a picture of my suspect on the stretcher.
Okay, and can you tell me what he's wearing on his head?
Looks like a bandage wrap.
And does there appear to be any bodily fluid on him?
I see red stains. To me, it looks like it's blood.
Okay, so most likely the blood that was on the car belonged to the defendant, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so I guess while you were at headquarters conducting your investigation and taking the statements from the victims in the case, did you receive a notification from another police department regarding a suspect?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what police department was that?
Castle Hills Police Department.
Okay, and what information was relayed to you at that time?
Detective Munoz, well, I first attended from investigator Torres, who works at BCS, so the one who I made contact with on the QT gas station.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. So you obtained it from Deputy Flores,
Investigator Torres.
Investigator Torres. Okay, and I guess were you notified that the defendant was in custody in Castle Hills? Okay, and so based on that information, what did you do?
Based on that information, I directed the crime scene unit deputy that took photos at the QT station to relocate to University Hospital where the suspect was being held in custody by Castle Hills PD and being treated by staff over there.
Okay, and regarding the victims, did you assemble a photo lineup?
Yes, after Castle Hills PD gave me the identity of their suspect, I compiled a photo lineup
And was the defendant positively identified?
by two of my complainants, yes.
Okay, and was the photo lineup shown to the third complainant?
Yes, it was.
Do you know why she was unable to positively identify the defendant?
From what I observed on video at the site of the suspect, she began to hyperventilate and she couldn't proceed further.
And so based on the information that your investigation yielded, what was the result of your investigation?
There was sufficient probable cause to believe that the suspect conducted an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against my complainants.
Okay, and is that Raquel, Fatima, and Brittany?
Yes,
Okay, and why did you decide to go with that charge?
just based on the evidence that I've seen of the suspect, the complainant testimony, the damage to the vehicle, the blood droplets I see on the vehicle.
Okay. And have you worked scenes before where a motor vehicle was used as a deadly weapon?
Rarely.
Do you believe that the vehicle in this case was used as a deadly weapon?
Yes,
Okay. And I guess at the time that you obtained the arrest warrant, you hadn't observed any video of the offense, is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you what's been entered into evidence as State Exhibit number 2, and we're gonna have a watch.
Your Honor, may we approach actually?
Yes.
Arrest warrant before he'd even watched the video, so the fact that he's seen it subsequently, what does that have to do with anything?
Right. So have y'all step back. We'll give the jury a short break.
Okay,
And
thank
then I'll have. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a short break at this time. There's one matter I need to take upside your presence that's unrelated to this case. So I'm going to have you all back at 3:40. All right, remember my previous instructions. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. Could you bring out, oh, everyone, please be seated. Could you bring out Brandon Lopez's client when you have a chance? And everyone, we're going to take a short break, then I'll hear whatever objections everyone has.
Okay.
All right, court is calling 2021 CR 2960, State versus Kara Michelle Clark. Can I have parties announced for the record?
Brandon Lopez for Ms. Clark.
And are you Ms. Clark? All right, did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision and State's motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke probation with your attorney? Did you understand it? Are you the same Kara Michelle Clark who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2021 CR 2960 for the offense of theft under $2,500 enhanced on March 2nd, 2023 for a term of 4 years? Is that you?
Yes.
All right, State.
Michelle Clark, they're gonna fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of January 2024, February 2024, March 2024, April 2024, May 2024, 2024, July 2024, August 2024, September 2024, October 2024, November 2024, and December 2024, violation of this number 4.
How do you, all right, how do you plead to that? True or not true?
It is true.
State, any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to $10,000 fine?
Understand, Your Honor.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4?
It is the truth, Your Honor.
But do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4? Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement? State, what are you requesting?
States
defense?
Your Honor, we're asking to go with the recommendation of probation, which was to continue weekly UAs on the IVR line for 120 days with zero tolerance, amend TAP recommendations, register within 30 days for the theft level 1 program, followed by the theft level 2 at CATS, and intensive outpatient treatment.
All right, has she done anything on probation?
Your Honor, she has not. Shortly following her plea, she was diagnosed with congenital heart failure. She reports to me that she's been doing odd jobs living at the same location at which she was at when she got on probation, essentially dealing with those ramifications. She also reports to me that her diagnosis is for 6 months if she does not get a new heart. So she's asking for the opportunity to continue on probation on the outside with her limited time available.
All right, so do you have any medical proof of any of this?
Your Honor, I asked her about that. Obviously, I do not have it at this time. If it was important, obviously it is important to the court. I could attempt to get that. I don't know how easy that would be with her being on the inside, but that's what we could do.
All right. So all you had to do was call probation.
Yes, ma'am, I did. But I didn't call them until it was 2023.
Oh, you want to raise your right hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you
To me,
solemnly swear or affirm the
Yes, I-
testimony you give will be the truth, that nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you want to say?
I contacted Tamia Dixon, my then probation officer, and it was December of 2023. And I went back to the hospital in November. I was diagnosed in August and I went back in November, and they told me that I was deteriorating. I had lost 5% of my ejection fraction in those couple of months. And that's when they
So how
called
long were you in the hospital?
for a week at a time, both times.
All right, did you call probation and let them know you're in the hospital?
Not until the second time I called her when I got out.
All right, and when were you released from the hospital?
A week after, it was the day after Thanksgiving that I went in, so it was about 6 days later I
Oh.
was released.
All right, so January 2024, and I will even give you January 2024 because I'm like, you're in the hospital for November, then December, you got Christmas. January, usually people are still recovering from Christmas and it's a holiday season, the month of January. But they say that you didn't report for February.
Yes,
What was
ma'am.
happening in February 2024?
I had called back in January like Miss Dixon had asked me to, and she was no longer my probation officer. I had been reassigned. And I called my new probation officer multiple times and she never contacted me. So I tried to contact Miss Jennifer. I don't remember her last name, the lady in charge of all of the adult probation officers.
All right,
in
so you're
Marietta.
saying that you were not able to get in touch with anyone
Yes, that is correct.
February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. So then basically the entire month of December 2024, the entire year of 2024, you were not able to contact anyone.
I gave up after about 3 months.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I apologize. I know that I should have done something more, but I was afraid of going to jail.
All right, so here's the thing. I tell everybody, if there's an issue and you feel as though probation is not addressing it, you can always come back to the court. Did you come back to the court?
No, Your Honor, I was
Right.
afraid of going to jail.
All right. So the court is going to grant the motion, find you guilty. What time are you asking for, state?
The state had recommended 108 days state jail facility.
Your Honor, that's the minimum, so we'd be asking for the minimum if you're gonna revoke.
All right, so my question is, why should I give her the minimum? She hasn't done anything.
Your Honor, I think, well, I don't have any paperwork regarding her diagnosis, but seems to be truthful. I do think that that she's dealing with these health issues, and we'd ask for the minimum for those reasons.
All right, I'm going to sentence her to 1 year in the state jail facility. Counsel, if you're able to get documentation to the court that what she's saying is the truth, I will reconsider the sentence.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so this 1 year in the state jail facility give you credit for any time served. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, I did.
All right, you have a limited right to appeal. That right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you are on deferred adjudication. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right. So yes, counsel, bring me the information and I'll reconsider.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, you're welcome. Is there anyone else left on the docket from today?
Judge, I did have another one.
All right.
And Your Honor, I'll show it.
All right. Paul Diaz.
So, Your Honor, Paul Diaz is a hired client of mine. He did not appear today. I did not have him on my calendar. I got a hold of him. He is working in Bernie where he traveled with his work crew out there, right outside of Bernie. I can get him on Zoom or I can bring him tomorrow morning. I'm just asking for an opportunity to bring him in. He's on my bond.
All
and
right.
He's responsive.
All right. We'll recall him for tomorrow at 9 a.m.
He'll be here at 9 a.m., Judge.
All right. Thank you.
And then I hate to be the one with three things at the end of the day, but
All right, just a second. Let me,
I'll let you-
let me put this on here. This was an imminent bodily injury or the threat of imminent bodily injury, then he can testify before that. Otherwise, I don't think it's relevant as far as he's watching a video and he's going to tell the jury what his conclusion would be. Because it seems as though, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems as though you're wanting to get a conclusion from this officer for the elements that are in the indictment. I can understand the officer testifying saying, after reviewing all of the documents or talking to whomever he talked to, I came to the decision that this was an aggravated, we filed it as an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon or sent it to the DA's office as an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. But I don't see the relevance of him watching a video that he didn't watch before he made his decision to file it as an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I would just say out of the abundance of caution, have him look at it in case the defense is going to decide to want to question him about it. But I don't know how he can give testimony about it when that wasn't a part of his decision. Am I missing something?
Judge, I mean, point of view of the state is one, the defense has obviously argued that this is a criminal mischief without the damages or anything like that. So they're arguing that it's a wrong charge, it's incorrect, it's too highly charged, aggravated assault deadly weapon portion. State's position is one, this was indicted before this detective even had this video. And then after he saw this video, it confirms his suspicions that this is an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And in front of the jury, I think that would, I mean, that's part of what they are attacking. They attacked it in their opening. So I think we should have an opportunity in front of the jury to allow them to know that, hey, he did view this, he didn't have it during the course of his investigation, but later on it was obtained, he viewed it, and it confirms his suspicions.
Well, I don't think he can testify. Well, I'm not going to say this is my ruling. I'm not going to say I don't think. If he's already watched the video, the only question that can be asked of him is, after watching that video, does it change how you would have brought or sent the case over to the DA's office? But as far as him watching a video and saying, yes, from looking at this video, I thought this person was going this speed, or I thought this truck could cause this damage, it's
Yeah.
not going to be relevant or admissible unless the
charging decision at all?
No, because I wasn't charging a property crime, I was charging a crime against a persons.
Okay. And so I guess because you determined through your investigation that a crime occurred against Fatima, Brittany, and Raquel, did that factor into your decision of going with the charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon?
Yes,
Okay, and so the conclusion of your investigation was that you believe the defendant committed the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against Brittany, Raquel, and Fatima?
that's correct.
Okay, and so, I mean, through your investigation, did you determine that they were facing a threat of bodily injury?
Yes, I would say serious bodily injury, yes.
We passed the witness, Your Honor.
All right, defense.
Thank you. Good afternoon. You stated earlier that you charged Mr. Aguilar, Edgar Aguilar, with the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon before you'd even seen this video, correct?
That's correct.
Now, I think we all can agree that a motor vehicle can be a very dangerous weapon, right? And especially at higher speeds and if I'm mad at the guy that cut me off and I drive my bumper in my front bumper and his back bumper and cause some damage, that could also, without smashing into it, but just like say, hey, I'm mad at you, just to sort of tap it. That could possibly be a criminal mischief too, if I cause a little bit of damage to their bumper, right?
Is he acknowledging that he intentionally struck the vehicle in this scenario?
I'm just saying, if I intentionally caused some damage to the car in front of me, let's say I threw a can at it and it was a full can of Coke and it smashed the window, would that be criminal mischief?
Yes.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
State?
We have nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused?
By the state, yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down. Thank you. State, call your next witness.
The state rest, Your Honor.
All right. Defense?
We rest.
All right, state, do you close?
Yes, Your Honor.
And defense, do you close?
Yes, Judge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to send you home early today. And we'll start back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. And both sides will have a chance to present to you their closing arguments. Remember my previous instructions, you're not allowed to do anything in regards to this case. You're not to do any investigation. You're not to start thinking about this case or talking to each other about the case. Everything that you're to learn is to come from inside this courtroom and nowhere else. And I'll let you know when it's time for you to begin your deliberations. Does everyone understand? All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.